Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 13-year-old Tracey Ann patient from New Zealand who disappeared on the evening of January 29th in 1976 after leaving a friend's home. 2 years prior to that, she had moved with her family from England to Auckland, so she hadn't even been there all that long. And on the evening in question, she had spent time at her friend's house, gossiping and talking about boys. She also talked about the ring that she got from her boyfriend, a signet ring. Then around 9 p.m. she called home to her mother to let them know that she would be home in about 30 minutes, after which the two left the house to walk down the road together about halfway, before parting ways at the corner of Great North Road and Edmonton Road. Now, the total walk from the friend's house to her own home was supposed to only be 5 minutes, and when they parted ways, her friend saw her setting off up Great North Road heading towards home. The last known sighting of Tracey was outside number 295 Great North Road by a couple walking their dog, after which nobody knows what happened to her exactly, but she never made it home. Later that evening, when she didn't come home, her father and her sister went out and looked for her, but there was no trace of her anywhere. Then the following morning, a man walking his dog found Tracey Ann's remains dumped in a bushy area on Scenic Drive on the fringe of the Waitakere Ranges. Now, this was about 12 hours later. According to the coroner, her death was ruled as homicide by strangulation by a ligature, and the ligature in question had been her own stockings wound tightly around her neck with a twig. The investigation was, of course, started. A homicide team of about 30 people set up temporary headquarters in a local scout hall, and they looked at hundreds of people of interest over the following months, exhausting numerous lines of inquiry. Then in March of 1976, an anonymous woman calls the youth line saying she saw a blonde girl, thought to be Tracey, on the Great North Road with a man in a brown suit. Both had gotten into a car, and they drove off just after 9:30 p.m. The caller in question was never found, though the police did take the information to try and appeal for sightings of any cars that actually acted suspiciously in the area, and a reward of $10,000 was offered. A description and identity kit picture was published of the man, and he was found, but later cleared. Then, in November 1978, the police received a phone call from an anonymous person who told the police that a signet ring belonging to Tracey could be found in a rubbish bin outside a chemist in Avondale. The caller gave the call taker the number 126040 and said he would call back later, which he never did. Then the officers went to the bin in question and found a ring inside, which was identified by Tracey's boyfriend as the ring he had given her, which they believe she was wearing the night she disappeared. Now, in the years that followed, the case would get some attention by appearing on some TV shows like the Holmes TV show and an episode of Sensing Murder, which is apparently a show in which psychics investigate the case. And despite continued efforts of the investigators and many calls from the public with new bits of information, the case is yet to be solved, and that is why I was asked to do a reading on it with the tarot, starting off with the Tarot of New Vision, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Deviant Moon deck, which is this one. So as per usual, I'm going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's see what we've got. We're starting off with an Ace of Cups in the top left, followed by two queens, the Queen of Chalices or Cups and the Queen of Wands. Now, when I saw these first two cards pop out, so the Ace and the Queen of Cups over here, what came to mind was she encountered somebody on the way home, whom either was somebody whom she's recently met or had recently met at the time, or it was somebody who seemed interesting and kind of suggested that they go do something real quick, like do something fun. And then I'm thinking along the lines of a new friend, new acquaintance, or somebody who may have claimed to know them or know somebody who knows them, etc., etc. Queen of Cups, I think, is being a representative of the person in question, whoever that was. And the Queen of Wands, I think, is Tracey herself, thinking, you know what, that sounds like fun. Let's just go ahead and do that. It'll only take a few minutes. It's fine. Because the Queen of Wands is very willful. And in reverse, I think the Queen knows that she's not doing the right thing, but they are so willful that they will go ahead and do it anyway, because that's just what they want to do, and that is what they're gonna do. So that's like the situation that I'm seeing here. This very quickly leads to an argument. We can see that with the Five of Swords that is next to them. And then we have the Seven of Swords, which is sort of deceit as well. So maybe they very quickly had a disagreement. Maybe this was already planned beforehand. The Queen of Cups is, after all, in reverse, meaning she may have been very manipulative over there. Maybe they lied to her about something that kind of pulled on her heartstrings, and then it very quickly became known that actually that was a lie. And then Tracey very quickly went to the, why am I here? What are you doing? This isn't what you said. I don't see anything that you said was going to be here. I don't see anybody who you said was going to be here, etc., etc. So there is this argument going on, and the deception or the ruse becomes more clear. But I feel like this is a situation where, even though she is arguing against whatever this other person is telling her, there isn't much choice for her to walk away, because over here we have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Wishing for things, wishful thinking, wishing things were different, wishing things were better, but it's in reverse. So I see that as not having much to wish for, because there's literally only one option. Or at the very least, the things that she wants are not available. And next to that, we see an Ace of Swords in reverse. So that is a perhaps new suggestion, that, or a new thought, a new, new idea spoken aloud that we are rushing into with the Knight in the background. And I think this is the idea of the person whom she encountered, whom I'm guessing is either the perpetrator or somebody who knows the perpetrator. Maybe somebody roughly her age that was sent out there to lure other people in. And in this case, they encountered Tracey. I don't know. But either way, they have an idea that they are now proposing, and this is what we're going to do. And Tracey doesn't like it, but it is what it is. And like I said, over here, we also have the Knight, and that was already quite visible over there. And then we also have the Knight of Swords over here, up to no good, and rushing things with lies, and literally rushing things, because you can see people running over there in the corner while things burn in the background. So this is a very hurried, hastily carried out plan with a lot of fire as well, because we have the Knight of Wands next. So Knight of Wands is very fiery, and I think also very bold, because the world is upright, which I normally see as somebody being visible to the world, or in a case where somebody disappears, like maybe somebody's actually seen them at this point. I don't know if they were actually seen by anybody outside of the couple that was walking their dog. But if they did see them, maybe they also did not recognize Tracey, or also did not feel like speaking out about it afterwards or something. But something happens. This person is being rushing the situation, and Tracey along with that, and in a very public view, or at the very least in a location where they could have easily have been spotted, but maybe they weren't, because of course this is the Tarot of the New Vision, where most characters and creatures look the other way. So perhaps it was a more hidden in plain sight affair. Somebody could have seen them at this point, is what I'm trying to say. We also have the Chariots, and then we have the Three of Cups, which is an interesting card. I'm thinking that this is her trying to just move along with things, hoping perhaps that if she were to cooperate, at least initially, that they will be friendly toward her, or at least let her go or something. But as you can see, they are tied to the chariot, so wherever this person, this perpetrator, is taking her, that is where they are going. Could be that she is indeed introduced to somebody else, a different group person, or a different whole group by itself, because the chariot is rolling towards a crowd, and I'm wondering if there was indeed somebody extra involved whom she was maybe handed off to. And then I'm looking at the chariot where it's pulling two people along, and the person looking back may be the first perpetrator or accomplice in this case, like they're both kind of caught. But it's worse for the woman being pulled along because she doesn't have a top on, and neither does he, but for him it's not that big of an issue. So it's kind of like, yeah, I guess I pulled you into this, I'm sorry, but there's not much else I can do. So maybe there's actually somebody who is related or somehow tied to the other perpetrator who is now in play, I believe, whom she is trying to play nice with. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles, the High Priestess in reverse, and the Nine of Wands on the end. So let's see, we have a new investment. I wouldn't really call it an investment in her, but more like aces are usually a new beginning of some sort. Pentacles are often more like the physical resources, time, energy, whatever you got physically, money. Maybe that is on offer. Maybe she walks into this new situation with these new people and the first thing they do is say, hey, I can give you a bunch of money if you do X, Y, and Z for me, like that type of thing. And that maybe have been a seemingly, I wouldn't say okay, but an offer that you thought, okay, well, I don't really want to, but if there is some way for me to get out of this and maybe also get something out of it, maybe, I don't know. But we also have the High Priestess in reverse, so she may not have really seen it through, at least not seen through the suggestion, like what may actually be going on here. They may have made a suggestion to her. For instance, this may have been a guy, like who has a certain predilection, if you know what I mean. And they may have suggested a few things that she could do for him, and she's like, okay, well, don't really want to, but there may be some financial benefit to it later. Meanwhile, she's not aware that his suggestion carries more than just what he is saying. She doesn't seem to see beyond the veil in this instance. The intuition did not strike that maybe there was something much more going on. That's why we have the High Priestess in reverse. And then lastly, we have the Nine of Wands, which is somebody who's already quite tired, who has to now face off against this bear, which I think is the moment where she realizes that the offer that was originally made is either never going to actually come to fruition in the way that she thought it would, or there are several layers to this, and she's already tired and done after a certain time. And now we see the actual issue coming to the forefront. The actual bear has come out of the cave, and now all the cards are actually on the table, and she sees what she is really facing. Let's see, because it sounds like the perpetrator is about to do whatever they did that landed her in a very bad spot. One of them is on the floor. I'll grab that. And also these three. All right, so let's see. We have Temperance in reverse. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. Yeah, we are definitely no longer under any sort of illusion that this may be something that she can deal with, or that she can handle gracefully, because Temperance is in reverse. She's staring it right in the face, no longer trapped in any sort of illusion there. We have the Nine of Wands again, but this time it's in reverse. And we also have here the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so there may have been an element of self-blame on her end. Like she may now realize how deeply she's gotten into trouble. And she's thinking, if only I hadn't actually gone with this person. Like, this is what you get. Like, that's what this card is basically saying, because the Seven of Pentacles is kind of like a what's growing on the vine, what have you planted, what are you about to reap, like that type of thing. So she may be thinking, like, if only I had done this, if only I had done that, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have talked to this person, should have just kept walking. Like, all these different types of thoughts may be going through her mind at that point. Okay. Six of Pentacles in reverse, not being given any sort of charity. I was just thinking as I was shuffling, like I hope the end came quickly, and then the first thing that we get is the Six of Pentacles in reverse, and maybe that means that was not the case. She may have been around them for some time though, because we have enough time to really worry about things with the Nine of Swords in reverse. Possibly because they were suggesting things to her, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like really revealing their plans and their thoughts about this situation. I'm talking about the perpetrator in this case. Which she dreaded. Seven of Cups, wishing as well for things to be different. Maybe also trying to appeal to this person, because we look at the painter. The painter is mostly visible, but I feel like the actual subject of this card is the creature that's holding up the canvas in the background. You can kind of see her armor and her legs. But the person painting the portrait isn't really paying attention to them at all. They are just an object to them. So this is more like concerns being ignored, not being heard, not being entertained. They're just going to keep doing whatever it is that they want to do. Okay. Ace of Wands. Okay, so this is, I think, the part that I don't really want to pronounce, because I'm assuming this is where things went really, really from bad to worse. Ace of Wands. Well, the wands can also be seen as a fiery suit. You can see the fire coming out of the torch. Can also be references to phallic objects, fiery initiatives in that regard, or in that type of setting with such objects. So I'm thinking that not only are they not listening, the depravity gets deeper. That's what I'm trying to say here. Five of Swords in reverse, the Emperor, and the Four of Swords. Okay, so she may have been thinking about potentially arguing against anything, or... But I think it's more of an internal argument with herself, like she may be thinking about giving up, because we have a white flag there, but the card is in reverse. I think this is an internal argument within herself, like, should I do this, should I do that? What are my options? But this person is lording over her, and also maybe even giving them a quick break, or pretending to, because this person is really lording over things. They've got like this creature underfoot and under their cane. And normally the Four of Swords is more of a taking a break and resting and recuperating. But this Four of Swords appears to be buried or discarded with roses. So I'm thinking this is the part that is literally the end of the road for her. And she may have, in a fleeting moment, felt like, okay, at least now I can rest, like it's over, that type of thing. Which is, of course, incredibly sad and disturbing. Let's see. Let's go for... Are we going to find out more about the perpetrator, more about this case? Is it ever going to conclude? Let's see, the Ten of Swords. All right, darks before the dawn. Could be that this is the energy of the people investigating, feeling like they've put themselves in all sorts of different positions and tried all sorts of different things, and there's just nothing really working for them. It has been a long time since this has occurred. It was from 76, so almost 50 years. Next year it'll be 50 years since this happened. They might literally feel like there's nothing left they can do, no more moves to make, because they are literally pinned in place here with the Ten of Swords. Now, the Ten of Swords is a card that tends to be, like I said, darkest before the dawn, so it could be that there is some relief coming. Let's see in what form. An Ace of Cups, an Empress. Okay, Eight of Pentacles in reverse. All right, so we're working very hard on something, but it may be the wrong thing. Either way, the whole thing, the situation is starting off with the Ace of Cups and the Empress. Empress being somebody who is very caring, or at least wants to care for people. Could be a matriarch, could be a mother. Somebody who wants to take on this cause, this case, and champion it. I think this is somebody who is kind of new to this case, or at the very least now really cares about it for whatever reason. Like maybe there's something that just kind of inspires them to want to help out, and that's what this Ace of Cups is saying. Suddenly there is an Empress type person who's like, I'm going to try to do my best for this case, and we're going to try to get some more information or something. Like it could be somebody who has a 13-year-old daughter themselves. What you often hear is that people tend to relate a lot to the cases where there are people that are similar to their own kids involved. And so maybe something like that will see this case and go, oh my God, I'm going to have to try my best for Tracey's sake, because that's what I would want somebody to do for my daughter. Like that type of vibe is what I'm getting from these cards. Only thing is they may be working on the wrong thing. Maybe due to the passion involved, we see quite a bit of fire and lava here as well. Like they're working really hard, they're burning the midnight oil, that type of thing, because they're passionate about things, but maybe it's not quite the right thing to do. This one just kind of dropped, so I'm going to grab it as well. We have here a King of Pentacles. Okay, so it is somebody with some resources to their name, or at least able to get their hands on resources. Knows how to get people involved, that type of thing. Also very willful, because of course it is the king. King knows what he wants. So this person may still keep going, even though they are literally like fighting the bull over there on top of the chair. As you can see, they are grabbing the bull by the horns. That I think is also a king energy, at least for the tarot, that they really know what they want and are going to go get it no matter how big the obstacle. So they may just keep going, even though initially they're things that they're doing are not really panning out as much as they would like. That does not deter them. I don't know if we're going to get any more cards, because I've been shuffling for a couple of minutes now and nothing's really popping out. Oh, there we go. See, I knew I only had to ask. All right, I think these are indeed going to be the last two cards, because it's getting difficult to get them. So let's see what we've got. We've got the Knight of Cups in reverse, and we've got the Six of Cups also in reverse. Yeah, I think even though they are very well-willing or well-wishing, their own emotions may be getting the better hand of them. They may be thinking about their own childhood, their own children, their own emotions, because that is what the Knight of Cups is also representing. Somebody who is really only focused on their own cup, not even really directing the horse, just kind of letting the horse go wherever it wants, because their own emotions are much more powerful and stronger and more important than where he's going. Similarly, the Six of Cups is more of a memory card, or a thinking back to the past, emotions of the past, melancholy, that type of thing. And I'm thinking that they are really stuck in their own past with their feelings. So the feeling over here with the Empress and the Ace of Cups, it just keeps going. I think it would be best if they just kind of took a step back in that regard and try to disconnect feelings from the facts, so they can at least spend their resources more wisely and perhaps get more evidence that way, because I feel like this strong emotional connection, as positive as that may be, I don't think that's actually helping the case, which is why both the Knight and the Six of Cups are in reverse. So it's not helping to be too attached to this case. Either way, that is what I'm seeing in the cards for Tracey Ann Patient. I hope you found it interesting. Be sure to leave a comment and a like. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe, that's even better. I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.